Hey, this is Kevin Carr, CEO of Pro to CEO, and today I'm coming to you about professionalism in the workplace and how you manage it. Particularly, the topic is how to be a professional when you don't get what you want to happen on the job. Listen, we have all been there. If you're of working age where you have been somewhere and you're counting on something to happen at work and it does not go your way, we've seen people just flat out do the most extremes of the extremes. And right now, it is important for us to get our composure back and get back to the real issues of when you work for someone or you work for yourself. How do you not let your emotions get the best of you? I can talk because I've had that happen before where I wanted something to happen and I did not get it and I lost it. I let some people know that I wasn't appreciative of it and it stunted my growth at work. Not to a point where I couldn't ever be promoted, but it was a little bit of a setback for me and I had to get my professional credibility back in check so I could get back on the path, climbing the ladder to the higher levels of leadership and management that I wanted to get to. So I'm here today to talk to that. And I've got a great example of how that has happened. We've seen in some industries, particularly in sports where I come out of, the highest levels of emotions. When people win, they're exuberant to the infinite degree. We see people who are just literally overcome with joy. They're crying for emotions from a place of happiness that they've worked so hard and so long to get there. And they display. You've seen it in the workplace when something great happens where you got a big deal to happen and they ring the bell and everybody cheers. You've seen that happen. You've also seen deals go down, even on the stock market, when you see people super excited when something goes and it starts going higher and higher and they're like, buy, 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 buy. You've seen all these things like that. You've seen it with teachers doing stuff with kids to reward them, and the kids are excited in the classroom for what happened. So it can happen in any profession, the good and the high. But I'm here to remind you that the emotions that we have at work can get the best of us. And we've seen it also when people lose. We've seen people flat out lose it, that they go to the extremes to let other people know that they did not appreciate it. You've seen people walk in people's office, turn over desks. You see people, take product and throw it off on shelves. You've seen people go to a very public place and either run a vehicle or even, go to the extremes of the extremes, which I don't even want to get into because of their dissatisfaction at work. But I'm not here to emphasize particularly those things. I want to emphasize when it actually doesn't go well and you want to react to it. How do you do it? How do you get there? How do you know what to do when it happens? Well, I want to give you a really prime example, one I saw probably about 2 weeks ago on one of the highest stages in all of sports and entertainment. It was the NCAA Men's National Championship for men's basketball. And we saw the winner, University of Kansas, win a championship, and through hard work and dedication, they did a fantastic job. Kudos to Kansas and their team and their university and fans. At the same time, we saw another team, their opponent, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill Tar Heels, lose that game. And what we noticed was the way in which, particularly I noticed, the way in which they lost, particularly from their highest level leader in terms of the head coach. When I look at business, I also look at sports as a business, and the CEO or the head basketball coach, I'm looking at him as the CEO. He's the face of the organization in terms of basketball, and he's a big face of the university, how he took that loss. I don't know about you. If you saw this, you would be amazed. You would have thought that Coach Davis, in his first year, he took his team all the way to the title game. I mean, that's a feat in itself. But they lost in such a tight battle, came down to the wire. And what's interesting to me about this video I want to show you, this is the learning piece here. It's interesting how Coach Davis really responds to losing and how big a stage it is, what he does. And check it out. I want you to take a look and tell me what you think. And I'm only gonna play a little bit and then I'm gonna come back.
I can't remember a time right now where I'm supposed to feel disappointed, but I'm just filled with so much pride. I'm so proud of these kids, what they have given to this university, to this team, to this program, to me as a coach. I can't be more proud of them, and I'm so happy that I'm their head coach.
You've talked so much about making memories with this team this week. How do you want this team to be remembered?
Well, I told them in the locker room after the game that was one of my desperations, because I wanted them to have these memories and experiences in a Carolina uniform. But it's interesting, along the way, they gave me more memories and more experiences, and I'm just thankful for them. I want them to hold their head up high because they are deserving of praise. They should be celebrated, supported, encouraged, and noticed for the way that they have played, the way that they have carried themselves, the way that they have represented this university and themselves. I can't ask any more of each one of the players.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Just think about what he just said. You would have thought he, in some ways, won that game because he didn't react with anything negative to the other team. He acknowledged right where the issue was with him and with the team. He came right to where he saw the most important thing that could have happened in that loss was what it gave him and what it meant to him to be able to lead a team like this. And given the opportunity, what did that do to help him be a leader that was selfless? I saw someone who talked about what it meant to have the opportunity to be in that position and to use that position with the utmost level of respect for it. And he was very fully aware of his emotions. I think whatever he did, he prepared himself and said, look, when I get in front of the camera or get in front of people, I'm gonna respond like this as it relates to this issue. And from there, he said to himself, this is the way I'm going to put this together so I can let these people who have worked so hard know what it means to me. And to me, this is a class of all classes in terms of how you respond with the utmost level of class and selflessness to an issue that happened at the workplace. Yes, you can say, hey, it's a basketball game. No. He was at work. He was at work in a big stage in a big way. And he was in front of a camera, one of the biggest networks in the world. And he had a chance to go either way he wanted to. But what did he do? He responded in a lot of ways. I train people to talk to problems that you respond in a way that allows you to speak well of leadership and be able to have control of your emotions, so you sound and you believe that what you did at that time was important lessons that you learned from it and how you go from there. To me, this shows us all that we can learn something about not only how Coach Davis displays great level of humility, but his attitude, win or loss, the passion he still has when things don't go his way, neutralizing negativity. He could have focused on some level of negativity, but what did he do? He pushed it down. He put it way down and lifted up what I would say, his team and his organization and his campus and community. And to me, the university should be extremely proud of having a very young leader in his first year to be able to handle a situation like that. So when I think about us, people who have issues, I've never had an issue happen that public in front of everybody and lose a very tough, hard-fought game and then be able to respond to it with the utmost level of professionalism when something happened to me. I can say I've never responded in that high level of dexterity and discernment when it came to, he had a decision to make whether he was going to go either way, and he decided to go and take the high road. So what I'm wanting you to get out of this video is, when you have the opportunity, when things don't go your way, how will you respond? I want you to gather your emotional intelligence. That's the ability to see the situation for what it is and emotionally gain control before your emotions get out of control, and respond with intelligence in terms of your emotions. So I want you to check yourself next time and say, how can I better respond when it comes to an issue at work, so I go away from it a little bit better than just being disappointed? How do I look at the lesson in that so I can be a better leader in that? Because there will be a time when you will be tested. Trust me, it's coming. Whether you work in retail, whether you work in auto sales, whether you work in a corporate environment, you're a teacher, you work at a faith-based organization, you work for a city government, you work for the military, wherever, you're going to be tested. Even if you have your own small business, large business, you work in any kind of interest, you're going to be tested. And how you decide to respond is everything. I want you to remember Coach Davis's response here as it relates to a very public matter and how he responded. Will you respond with the utmost level of class and professionalism in terms of when something does not go your way in terms of on the job? How will you still be a leader and lose with grace? How will you still be a leader and be able to take the L and not react with so much anger that you curse people out, or you throw things, or you find some way to get back at people later on with some type of vengeance? I want you to work at that so that doesn't be your case in point, and that's how people remember you. We've seen so many cases when people do something like that, it causes another reaction, and then people tend to either lose jobs, create some public issue that becomes very much in the news, and you don't want to be that person. And if cooler heads prevail, like in Coach Davis's case here, you too can respond like this. So I'm excited for you in a sense of, what will you do the next time you're put in this situation? Will you be a leader and lead yourself with a level of high intelligence emotionally, and still be able to, if you don't win, lose with grace? I'm not sure I would have, without seeing this video, knew what I was going to get into and say, what is he talking about? This right here gives you full proof that this is a real person behind a very, very public issue, and experience something at a very high level that people are going to talk about for years. But what's more important, he may now have another chance, hopefully, to get back there. And I'd love to see a little bit later on how he will respond if it becomes where he's on the other side of it and he gets to respond in a winning fashion. I wouldn't be surprised if the response is very similar, if you know what I mean, for Coach Davis. He'll respond with some high level of class, of course, but I'd love to see how he puts together this same scenario with the tables turned. And I'm hoping that for you, Coach Davis, for sure, that you will get a chance to come back, or I'll get a chance to come back and show how you also win with class. So I'm going to wrap up here, and that's it, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. I just gave you a transition tip in terms of leadership and how you be a professional when things don't necessarily go your way on the job. How do you respond? I'm Kevin Carr, CEO of Pro to CEO, where transition is the mission. We specialize in professional development and helping people transition out of organizations into business and industry, and also help create organizational transformation for companies to help them succeed in what's next with big success. There you have it. Thanks for joining me. I look forward to leaving another video soon.